The reason prostitution is illegal is because if we start legally charging for men will no longer be able to convince us that we should be giving it away for free.
I, I don't think that's the reason. I don't think that's the reason. I think if that was the scenario, you probably lead down to the degradation of sort of relationships, which for such a long time were held as the backbone of a growing society. If men did not have to get married in order to have access to women like it was in the past, then yeah, I don't think marriage would be a thing that we see as it is today, as prevalent, as important as society's trying to make it out to be. Um, on a lighter note, I think if women could legally charge for their bodies, I think when you had a market that was regulated by it, a lot of women would feel really bad about themselves. Like there wouldn't be a set charge. It wouldn't say be a set price, but there would be the hierarchy. And like we see today, when we try to say things like, "Oh, she's a 4, she's a 7, she's an 8," you'd see that some women command higher prices. And when you say that you command this price, i.e., I don't accept coffee dates, this is my price of my body, you would have people that would just maybe not laugh at you, but simply you would go broke, right? That profession would not work out for you well. You would just kind of see the results of that because in a very real way, it's a sexual dating market like it is today. When you look a certain way and your body is a certain way, just on the sexual market, you command a different price. Now that price is in the things that you say, and you say, "Hey, I demand to go to STK. I demand to go to Prime Ones." And those things are easily acceptable. You find yourself on a yacht. You find yourself never paying for bills. Going outside is free. That is the price. When you don't look like that, you tend to complain that you're not getting attention, that men are not hitting on you, men do not come up to you. You're at a bar and men aren't buying you drinks. I don't know why we can't really see the correlation here, but I think for men who are the would be the purveyors and consumers and customers, they see it. Is that it's saying that people kind of vote with their wallet. That's what you see here. But listen, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss no uploads. Still trying to do 2 a day. We got some new things cooking up, so give me some time to get some of these things, some of these small projects off the ground. By New Year's, I hope I have the Patreon open up and running, have other value in there for you. You can follow my own journey where I try to improve little aspects of my life and codify a lot of things that's really been on my mind lately. I think that's all as men what we should be doing every single year. You should look back and say, "Damn, I was an idiot," even though throughout that year you felt like I had it all together. I'm going to find a way to share part of that journey, and I think sometimes having an audience to be sort of beholden to keeps you on the right path, right? But back to this one. Yeah, we there are some societies here. There are some places here where they legalized sex work, but not in the sense that it's like she's saying that it's all across the board that all women can simply pay. I think sometimes we don't have an appreciation for one how desires men are of sex, two how if it was legal, how people would spend their time and effort to get a simple piece of something that the higher tier. What that means is you'll be left with such a gap in between that I think we don't have an appreciation for what it does to women when you are not chosen, when you are not desired, because you have this innate thinking that you all are desirable. We never really talk about the OF girls, the OF models who um, start their page and make $140 a month. Full stop. We celebrate. We look at people that make tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars upon the inception of their page. But the very real reality is when you look at the numbers on average, No one's making that much money. The girl next door is not making that type of money. A lot of that still comes down to what it's always came down to, your access and how much men see you and desires of you. A lot of people who have, an incredible stardom on OnlyFans already have a following on social media, on TikTok, and you take that and you throw it on to something else. But one of these, when I was reading this article and it was going through the comments of this OnlyFans woman who said, uh, that she actually, the embarrassment she felt, because it was a very real realization that you tested a product on the market and a market was uninterested. And you did things to compromise, as she said, compromise her own standards and of, how her standards and morals. And this is what was compensation for it. I think she said she tried it for 3 months before she shut it down. We also know that you like any type of business, you've got to stick it in. That pun was not intended, but you have to stick with it for you to see some real results. But when we look at sexuality, we look at how it's been used lately, as in just saying, hey, if the man's going to ask you something, he's going to ask you for your body. You should be asking for something. We're probably steps away from trying to legalize just selling, or we've normalized it in the sexual dating market where this is just sort of normal. But thinking that your vagina, gives you access to this amount of money, I think a lot of people would be disappointed in what it actually is, what it actually does for them. And this is one of those things that we walk down a path and we think that, yes, this sounds good. But in reality, a lot of people would just be lonely like they are now. But now you'd have more proof positive that you were not as attractive than you thought. That delusion was playing a very big game, was had a very heavy hand over your life. And I don't think it's necessary for us to go that far. I think we also often look at women and say, yes, you are beautiful. We have this sort of mass delusion that there's no such thing as an ugly woman. Well, then in reality, we all know we're stratified. We all know we're closer to average than we are to being exceptional. But if everyone was selling it and everyone was this was normal, the purchasing, the buying and selling of it, we would see what it was. There's a reason magazine models used in magazines are a certain way, even down to just Victoria's Secret, even down to what you see in the industry. There's a certain body type. There's a certain look that men tend to lust over. We're all not that, but that's okay. I think when we come back to reality, which I don't think she's visiting it in saying something like this, when we come back down to reality, we have a better understanding of what's really happening out here. The average man is not with supermodels. They're not with IG baddies. They're not. We're that's just not the case. We've gotten we've gotten sucked into a place, again, pun not intended. We've gotten sucked into a place where what we think we see, what we look at on the internet, we think this is the very real reality. Most of us are average. Most of us are going to get with the average looking people, and then those people have a real shot at being happy. Let's just leave it at that. Let's leave the idiotic, the fantastical sort of comments or theories up there and say, listen, just apply a little objective reasoning, a little thought, and just leave a lot of that in 2025. But listen, if you think I missed something, let me know down in the comments. If you see videos on your screen right now, take a look at those. Let me know what you think about those in those videos as well. Of course, if you just listen to the sound of my voice right now, you should subscribe. If you were selling it, I'd think about buying it. I wouldn't. Come on, my mom watches this channel. I'll see you guys in the next one.